Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the program. I'm Christiane Amanpour. In the cycles of history, great financial turmoil triggers great political upheaval. And tonight it appears the cycle may be repeating itself in France. In my brief tonight, will French President Nicolas Sarkozy be the next European leader to be swept from power since the global financial crisis erupted? A number of others have fallen like so many dominoes already. Greece's George Papandreou, Italy's Silvio Berlusconi, Britain's Gordon Brown, just to name a few. The riots the world has witnessed, angry citizens taking to the streets of these countries. All of this has happened as leaders have adopted harsh austerity measures meant to bring spiraling debt levels under control. And now France faces a painful question, whether to go for austerity or stimulus spending. In Sunday's first round of elections, Sarkozy came in a close second, behind the socialist François Hollande. And polls suggest that Hollande will win the runoff 2 weeks from now. But worrisome for the country, both the far left and the far right had stronger showings than anyone expected. France is also the world's fifth largest economy, and when it comes to the world stage, it has long been proud of the role that it plays there. It was a leader in the successful intervention effort in Libya last year. And now there are questions about what role it may play at a crucial moment of decision for international intervention in Syria. We'll discuss all of this with our two guests tonight, France's Bernard-Henri Lévy and the United Nations ambassador from Russia, Vitaly Churkin. First, we turn to Mr. Lévy, or as he's known in France, BHL, perhaps the leading public intellectual in that country, a writer, a journalist, and an activist of much renown. Welcome to our program.
Thank you.
First, what happened? Why has France turned against President Sarkozy? Because it does seem very personal.
The real event of yesterday night is not that. The real event, and probably the real disaster, is the extreme right breaking all its own records, arriving close to 20%.
More than even Mr. Le Pen in 2002?
Of course. The daughter, at the end, killed the father. This was one of the goals of the game. She made it.
With so many young people.
So many young people and so many old people. She's surrounded by a lot of old Nazis, old denial people of Holocaust.
People who deny the Holocaust.
She is now surrounded by a lot of old people coming from the dark ages of our history. I don't like to say badly about my country when I'm abroad, but I must say that we are a lot today to be in a sort of mourning because of this incredible vote for a crypto-fascist party.
And why is that? I mean, these are huge insults, if you like, as you admit yourself, that you're throwing at the far right. But why do you think this is happening? What are they angry about right now, the people?
I'm not sure that they are angry. You know, this sort of vote is not a vote of angriness.
But they say that they are divorced from the mainstream. They feel that mainstream politics doesn't address their concerns, the high unemployment.
It is an old tradition in European policy. You know that in Germany, in Italy, in France, there is this undercurrent running in the mainstream of European politics, and from time to time it comes back. When the locks are unlocked, when the taboos are uplifted, when the right has accepted to break the wall, the barrier between the wall of species between the right and the extreme right, when the left, the extreme left, also feeds the topics of the extreme right, when you have all of that, the hatred of America, a sort of smooth or soft, unsaid anti-Semitism, xenophobia, racism, which are expressed more and more in France in a sort of cool mood, then, of course, the real fascists, they have the head up again and they express.
It is pretty terrifying and dark and bleak, the picture that you've just painted in the last minute or so. What is going to happen then? Is Marine Le Pen going to instruct her voters to vote for Sarkozy? Is Mr. Hollande going to win? The socialists come back to power?
She will certainly not decide that, because one of the characteristics of the extreme right in Europe is that their main enemy is never the left, he's always the right. If you look in the history of Europe, the one who opposed fascism were always the right, the liberal right, I would say, and those who were first destroyed by fascism was always the right. So Marine Le Pen, it is the name of this brilliant girl, has a real target, a real enemy, who is Sarkozy. She wants to put him out of politics, and she says it. So she will not call for any vote.
So you think Hollande will win the second round? And you obviously support him. You support the Socialist Party.
Yes. I vote for him. But I don't know. It is still unpredictable. You know, Sarkozy is also a great leader. He has a real. He had real good achievements during his first 5 years. So the story is not finished yet.
So let's take it to the world stage. France, as I said, is very proud of the role it's played, and particularly in Libya. And you obviously had a huge impact on what happened in Libya. You went to Libya, you met with the so-called rebels, the oppositions at the time, and you convinced your president, Sarkozy, to act there. Tell us a little bit, how did you do that? Here you are, a socialist philosopher, journalist, having this incredible impact on a very conservative president.
It is even for myself, even in my own eyes, it is a mysterious story. I was in Benghazi. I had gone through all Cyrenaikas, saying terrible things, which you know, the sort of things better than me. I was full of that. I really wanted to try something to do. I said to myself, one cannot just stay arms like this in front of that. And I called him. It was like a bottle in the sea. I called him, but without having spoken to him since years. We were friends before, 20 years ago, but since he was president, we were not on speaking terms. I called. He took me, and I told him what I saw, what I was witness of, and that I met these people who were the leaders of the rebellion, and that, on my opinion, they were guys which should be supported. And he just said yes. And a few days after, he received them in Paris. He recognized them as the legitimate representative of the new Libya, and he prevented the blood with Mrs. Clinton and with David Cameron. They are really the three which really put the brakes on history. They prevented a bloodbath in Benghazi. There was a bloodbath, what is happening today in Syria, in Homs. This was preparing in Benghazi, and they really stopped it at 5 to midnight. 5 to midnight.
So you're saying, and you've written, that Homs today is what's actually happening and could have happened in Benghazi if the world hadn't intervened.
Exactly. And Benghazi is what could and should be done in Homs in order to stop the bloodbath. Yes, of course. Homs and Benghazi, it's rather similar. You know, it's rather similar, even if the geography is different, even if it is rather similar. So, Homs is the Benghazi of 2012.
Your favorite candidate is François Hollande. Listen to what the current French foreign minister has said about him. The problem with François Hollande is that in matters of foreign affairs, he's always running behind the train. That is what Alain Juppé said this past Friday. Would François Hollande intervene in Syria? Sarkozy has not.
You never know what a statesman will do. Sarkozy, when he intervened in Libya, was the man who received Gaddafi in Paris 3 years ago. He was the most unexpected president to kick down, to unthrone Gaddafi. So you never know. History is never written. And what Libya proves is that sometimes when you have 2 or 3 women and men, Hillary Clinton, Cameron, Sarkozy, who really want something, who gather their energy, they are like a grain of sand which block the process of the inevitable history. So, I don't know, Hollande can be the man in Syria, as Sarkozy was the man in Libya. As Sarkozy can be, if he is re-elected, he can be also the one who takes the lead of a new coalition, stopping this incredible thing which happens every day, 20, 30, 100 dead, and the international community looks like that, like the weather it will be tomorrow. This is completely disgusting. And why? Because why did it happen in Libya this way? First, because Sarkozy and Hillary Clinton succeeded in convincing the Security Council. This was the real achievement. Why it does not happen in Syria? Because there is two states, at least, China and Russia, who block any resolution. And this is a shame. This in front of the judgment of history, when we shall all be judged by I don't know whom, those who block every resolution which some countries try to pass will have a huge responsibility. I hope they sleep well when they learn, when they know that every day there is 20, 30, 100 more children, women, civilians killed because for realpolitik reasons they don't want to intervene. This is a shame of our times.
Bernard-Henri Lévy, thank you very much for joining us. And up next, we will ask that very question to our next guest, Russia's ambassador to the United Nations, Vitaly Churkin, when we come back.